कुनी चाहिँ कति दुःख दिन्छौ
दिन्न अब सर्वमा दिन्न
तैँले मलाई कति माया गर्छस् है
त्यही माया लाएर त भेट्न आएको नि
गर्थे माया गर्थे यसले
छोरी मान्छे हो धेरै बोल्नु हुँदैन र बोल्दा पनि बोल्दिन
अब यो खम्बेले बिना पैसा खम्मा गाड्छ
आमाको चाला मलाई ठिक हुनु पर्यो नि छोरीको चाला मलाई ठिक हुनु आमै गतिलो चाहिँ
ए छोरी यो के भएको
मेरो बाको बिहा भएको
एवा पानी लोग्ने पनि पैसा उल्टो भएन त भने
म सुल्टो पार्दिउ
कसरी
यसै आई रन्जु जाऊको लास्टमा र पर्केल आयो हरके
Hello and welcome to the pre-match analysis of the first semi-finals of the SAFF Championship 2013 to be held between Nepal and Afghanistan. The tournament has been very well shaped so far, with India and Maldives being the other two teams that have qualified for the semi-finals. Nepal and Afghanistan have had 5 matches played between them so far, in which Nepal has managed to win in 3 occasions, while Afghanistan have won only 1 match. The hosts look to be in terrific form and will look towards repaying Afghanistan for kicking them out of the tournament in the last edition, while the Afghans will look to repeat the same performance from SAFF 2011 semi-finals, where they shattered Nepal 1-0, scoring in the 105th minute. Here to discuss furthermore are our experts of today's match, Shahrukh Sohail, Chief Editor Football Pakistan, Atishay Agarwal, Editor 90 Minutes Magazine, the only football magazine in India, Bikram Thapa, Chief Editor, GoalNepal.com. I'll start with Atishay. You've been with us for a lot of matches here.
Yes.
How do you think has the tournament shaped up so far?
I think the lineup for the semi-finals is something that all of us would have been happy with at the start of the tournament. We have all, the biggest thing is that the hosts are still there, Nepal are still there, and they've gotten there by topping their group. So that's a huge bonus for the tournament, because that keeps the home crowd in it, keeps them, keeps them going. So that's a big boost for the tournament. Apart from that, India have been lucky to get in, but from a commercial point of view, I think the sponsors will be quite happy with that.
Very sure.
And Afghanistan and Maldives, two of the strongest sides in the SAFF region, are in the semis as well. So I think overall the tournament has been exciting, especially Group A, which we had all 4 teams in with a chance of qualifying for the semis on the last day as well. So it's been exciting. It's been a lot of good action, a lot of good football on show. The home support has been fantastic. I think that's been the biggest plus point of the tournament so far, and we can look forward to some 3 more really exciting games to finish it off.
Right. Getting back to today's game, we are into the semis now. I would want to ask Shahrukh. Afghanistan on paper are the best team according to FIFA rankings in South Asia, but they've really not performed according to their reputation, have they?
Yes, definitely. Look at the Maldives playing. Afghanistan struggling in the middle of the park, and the coach should have opted for a different strategy to counter Maldives, but he didn't. And some of the players have been very off color. Bilal Arzu, perhaps Afghanistan's most strongest player in terms of attacking. He struggled so far. He hasn't scored a goal. His touch has been very poor. He missed a penalty, so it's a big chance for Afghanistan to prove themselves.
Right, and looking at the last game, right, they were up against a Maldives team without their major weapon. Ali Ashfaq was not playing, right, and they really had to perform because they were not playing to just top the group stage. They were playing to avoid the host Nepal in the semi-finals, and of course, getting a 2-day break going into the finals.
Yes, they were, but then again, Afghanistan did not take that opportunity when it came to them. Their defense held solid for the most of the 90 minutes, but the midfield, when they created chances, the strikers were not able to finish. They missed a couple of open setters to take the lead. The strikers, Sanzan Ahmedi was okay in terms of possession and creating chances. Bilal Azu was quite poor and had to be substituted.
Right, getting back to Nepal's performance, the hosts have been brilliant this tournament, right? Whether you call it the 12th man support, whether you call it the coaches, new strategies coming into the game, or the players, this tournament has been the tournament where everyone believes that Nepal will make a mark.
Well, it has been a fantastic journey till now, and everybody must be so happy with the way how Nepal is performing. Nobody had thought that Nepal would perform this way. In the main, they defeated Bangladesh, they defeated India. So coming out of the group of stage and coming to the semi-final, so everybody must be happy, and everybody is happy now. But the real challenge is now, playing against Afghanistan. They defeated Bangladesh, they defeated India. However, they drew against Pakistan. So Afghanistan is a big challenge right now. And they are up for the, taking up revenge against Afghanistan because they were defeated by same team back in 2011 edition. So far, so good. Journey has been fantastic, and everybody is eyeing on this exciting mouth-watering class. Right.
Adisha, I'll ask you this question. There has been a lot of credit given to the home crowd, but it is not that Nepal have not played good football. I think, it has been overshadowed somehow. But going into the first game, perhaps you could have said that the crowd were carrying the momentum with them. But Nepal have produced some brilliant opportunities, scored in brilliant chances. And when you look at the Afghans team, they should have lost against Maldives because Umair Anwar, it was the guy who missed a few chances that would have gone in any day.
Yeah, I think Afghanistan were clearly off color against Maldives. Especially so because Maldives, in that game, Maldives needed just a draw to top the group. So there wasn't enough of an incentive for them to really, go forward and try to score a goal. But the onus was on Afghanistan because if they wanted to avoid Nepal in the semis, they needed to win. So, when the onus was on them, but still they didn't show much initiative during the game. So that was a bit disappointing because, we expected a lot more from them so far, and they haven't expectations. They've deserved each one of the results. They deserve to win against Bangladesh. They deserve to win against India, and they deserve to draw against Pakistan for sure. So, we've not really spoken enough about the football that they've actually played. So, yeah, they've played really well. I think they've been the most impressive team in the tournament so far. Of course, Maldives have scored more goals, but you can probably argue that they've scored against 10 men, against weaker sides. So in that sense, I think Nepal have been very, very impressive.
Yes, coming back to Afghanistan, what does the coach Yusuf Kargar do? He did say that he wanted to avoid Nepal, but football is a game where you can't avoid opponents. So now that they're playing against Nepal, with the 12th man not backing them up, what do you think the strategies have to be moving into this?
This is going to be Afghanistan's most toughest challenge to date in this tournament. And looking at it from a tactical point of view, I think he has to maintain his defense line. Harun Fakhruddin, also known as Zohaib Islam Amini, has been excellent so far for Afghanistan, and his defensive capabilities are going to be tested severely today. Nepal's defensive attack is quite strong, and if Afghanistan's defense holds it well for majority of the 90 minutes, they can then look to win it. So at the end, if Nepal are able to counter the attack, they need to check out the midfield. The midfield has been creating chances, but it's down to the strikers to finish that. Bilal Arzu, for me, he hasn't performed, and this time the coach, will be thinking about whether he should start or not. But once you see that Bilal Arzu is not only off color, he can't even hold the ball well. So making him an impact player could be a very tactical, wrong tactical decision.
Right. Coming back to Afghanistan performance, their captain, Harun Fakhruddin, he said is a rock at the defense line, has been the one who scored 2 goals as well. That really shows the woes that the current striking lineup is facing.
Yes, they've passed the ball around and they've retained enough possession, but there hasn't, even against Maldives, they barely created any chances of note. I mean, there was the odd 1 or 2 chances, but nothing really clear cut. There was no domination. There was no period in the game where you could say that Afghanistan are on top, that they look like scoring. So that was a big disappointment. Yes, Fakhruddin has stepped up and scored a couple of goals when it's mattered, but against Nepal, it might not be that easy because you have to say that Afghanistan have not been tested against this kind, in this kind of a game so far in the tournament. The first 2 games were against Bhutan and Sri Lanka, weaker sides. The third game was against Maldives when Maldives didn't play the best 11, and it was a very dull affair because both of them, a draw was a good enough result for Maldives. So this is a different ball game altogether for Afghanistan, playing against the home side. A team which is raring to go, which is that the game means everything to them. getting to the final means everything to the Nepal side and to the crowd as well. So it's going to be very tough for Afghanistan to deal with that.
Right. Talking about Nepal, if there have been some setbacks, may I please point out that the defense is the one who is creating opportunities there in place of the midfield, and we were talking about the scoring woes that Nepal have in each of the analysis we portrayed. Nepal has strikers have led from the front, but the midfield has not delivered enough ball. If you look at the last goal that Jumanu Rai scored, it was a pass from Robin Shrestha. The goal that Anil Gurung scored was a set piece from Sandeep Rai, and then before that too, it was Sagar Thapa's cross that Bimal Gartimagar later converted into a goal. Do you believe that the midfield is not creating close scoring opportunities for the forward players?
Absolutely. Defenders are playing very good game. Even the Robin Shrestha and Biraj Maharjan on the wing side also, they are playing very good. But Robin looks very fantastic in this tournament. He's playing fantastic game. Even Sandeep Rai, you need to mention. I mean, his free kick set piece. Bikram Lama headed that ball, which Anil Gurung later scored. So there is no question on the the defense line. The question is on the midfielders. We need to be very creative. The problem is that the coach selected the many defenders and many strikers in the team. There are very few holding midfielders. Raju Tamang is playing good, but we need to have like more confident player. Bikram Lama is being warming the bench, so we don't have that level of players who can hold the ball well and just filter the ball well. So there is a problem in the midline. Sometimes it's like looking like completely hollow. So we need to step up. The midfielders need to play real tight game today, so that they can just deliver the balls to the advancing frontliners.
Right. The only innovation we saw in Nepal's game in creating a goal was when Robin Shrestha passed. But Jagjit Shrestha, we'll have to talk about this lad. Going into this tournament, you thought that he would really step up and perform. He's been injured, right? Might miss the starting 11 lineup today. What do you have to say? Is it a big setback? And if he doesn't play, who do you think has to take his place?
This is the major setback for Nepal because the coaches thought that they relied so much on Jagjit Shrestha because he sustained an injury in the last match of the friendly camp.
Right.
So I think it's a mistake to rely much on him because he got injured and he's not playing in the team. So it's a big blow for the Nepal because we discussed earlier also Jagjit Shrestha is a match winner, killer. So he can play. He could have made some big impact on the game. So today, what I think Jumanu and Anil should start because they are so experienced players and who can deal with the such pressure while facing the big teams like Afghanistan. So for me, Bharat Khawat should go to the flank supporting two strikers, and Raju Tamang, Bhola, who is playing fantastic game in the team, should stick on the midline, and defense there should not be any change, and goalkeeper of course Kiran Chamjong.
Right, football is a harsh game, Atishay. Once the injuries come out and you are not being able to perform for your team, it really is a setback. But you look at other midfielders, and Bola Silwala has been exceptional, like you said, but they've not been given enough credit. And because Jagjit is injured, and we did see that he was replaced in the 28th minute, I think, what do you think about his inclusion in the first lineup? Do you think if he's included, it's just a waste of substitution?
Yeah, theoretically you could say that. Of course, being such a good player, the temptation for a coach is always to start him. If he thinks he's fit enough, even if it's 80 to 90%, because he feels that being a quality player, he can make that difference, even though he's not at his best. But seeing how the games so far have gone and how Nepal have dealt with Jagjit not playing, they've dealt pretty well with it, haven't they? Bharat moves on to the flank, Jumanu and Anil play up front, and they've done really well. So I think if he's not 100%, which we think he's not, there's no need to risk him, really. If they should start with Jumanu and Anil, and if things are not going right, say in the second half, then bring on Jagjit and see if he can do something.
Right.
But I don't think there's much of a case for him to start Jagjit today.
Right. The condition has been overwhelming here at Dashrath Stadium. Also, the confidence of the Nepali team seems to be boosting pretty high. I talked to Sagar Thapa yesterday. What he said was, this is a tournament where we're all taking revenges. So we would want to take on Maldives at the finals because we've already beaten India and showed on to be the better team.
Yeah, I think there's so much confidence in the Nepal side right now. I think that says it all, doesn't it? They feel that they can beat any of the sides in the SAFF championship right now. So they've already beaten India. So let's try and beat the other team. Let's see what they're like. So that's the kind of confidence running through the Nepal side right now. It's impressive to hear. Obviously, when you say such big words, you need to really back that up with the performance on the pitch.
Right.
Hopefully for Sagar and Nepal, they can do that.
Right. And talking about the Afghan camp's confidence, how do you think it is with the players? Who do you think has stepped up so far, and who's going to be clinical in today's game?
Well, so far the confidence I think should be relatively up, considering that they've qualified for the semi-finals and they are up against host Nepal, so they need to focus on the game as well. most of the time it's the defense either stepping up or the midfield stepping up. For me, Afghanistan have really struggled in the attacking third. The strikers have not performed, and when Bilal Arzu came on, his replacement Hashmatullah looked far better than Bilal Arzu, who's considered to be Afghanistan's best striker. So for me, I think the coach Kargar's biggest worry will be the attacking lineup. He can either offer Bilal Arzu on the bench or he can start him, but I think risking on the bench would be, far worse than, starting him.
Right, coming back to the Nepali team lineup, since the strikers have performed, Bharat Khawas, is the coach still confused with where he should play? Because last time he started as the center striker, then he was moved on, to the midfield. He started playing as a midfielder when he entered football. Where do you think he should play?
No, he should play in the wing today. I would go for Jumanu and Anil in the front line. So I think that makes a complete, real complete attacking line. Because Bharat Khawas can come down to the, even the defensive midfield to support the players. So he can go up front to support the striker as well. He's a striker also. So he's such a versatile player who can play anywhere in the front line. So that has given the big advantage to the coaching staffs as well. So I think the coaches must fill him to the flank with two experienced players like Jumanu and Anil on the front line.
Right, you were talking about the coach not having, Yusuf Kargar not being flexible with his strategies. What do you think are the changes he needs to undertake to face a team like Nepal, which is in such good form?
I think he should retain his previous team and, look to change if things don't go their way. If the things don't go for them, obviously they need to, change to a much more flexible system that focuses on attack. If you are losing in a semi-final, you have to go for it, I'm afraid. So I think Afghanistan should go for their usual formation, and depending on the situation, perhaps make a change then.
Right. All the players, if you were to see, Nepal have a pretty impressive lineup. Afghanistan on paper have a very good lineup,
Yes.
but they're just not being able to perform.
Yes.
But that's what great players do when it really matters.
Yes.
And now that we're in the knockout, it does really matter. There is no second opportunity. They'll come back and perform.
Yeah, and maybe it's Bilal who does it today because he's a great player, he's a very good player. He's not done well so far in the tournament. In each press conference, there've been questions to Yusuf Kargar that what's wrong with Bilal? Why isn't he playing that well?
Very true.
So that's what great players do. Even when they're not fully fit, and when people think that they're not in good form, there comes an important match and they turn up and score.
Right.
So
and
maybe for Afghanistan, you can do that.
Jumanu Rai did it in the other game. He was a player that was dealing with so many criticisms coming into the tournament. Is he fully fit? He played 90 minutes against Pakistan too, and then came up to score, and that was a brilliant finish from him.
Yeah, brilliant finish. He's looking in good form. Coming up with having 11 goals under his belt. Target is there, personal record is there, but country winning for the country should be more important for him. He already said that the win is more important. So he's such an important player who can make impact and could be the real man in the team against the team like Afghanistan.
So to be honest, Aditya, there are news that Anil Gurung, of course, he scored right in this tournament twice.
Yeah.
But it really was easy scoring, and he's really not stepped up. Do you think Santosh Saukala should be given a chance in today's game, or no? Anil Gurung, you think has been very fine.
I think it's too late in the tournament to really give a fresh player a chance, unless there's an injury, of course. But if Anil is fit now, and I think there's no reason to drop him. He scored goals, and even if they've been easy goals or tap-ins or whatever you might want to call it, that's what a striker has to do. He has to be at the right place at the right time, and he's been there. Let's not forget the first goal against Bangladesh was not an easy one to score, even though it was a header from close range. He really had to fight for it. He wasn't the defender was taller than him as well. He out-jumped him and scored at the far post. So he's done well. I think it's unfair to criticize Anil Gurung. He comes under a lot of criticism,
right?
But I think he's done well at this tournament. And should definitely be the coach should definitely continue with him. Because in the semis, it's not a time to really experiment with a fresh player.
Right. Talking about one advantage that the Afghans will have is that physical structure, because they're well built, their height is there. So can we expect a lot of long balls played from the Afghan team today?
Usually when you see the Afghanistan team play, they usually rely on short passes, but given that they're coming up against Nepal, who not only play a very tactical passing game, they also have the support of the 12th man. So Afghanistan can look to counter that by playing the defenders and using their physical advantage. And for that, when for the likes of Sanzara and Bilal Arzu going forward, the midfield can look to drop long balls, because majority of the Nepali side is not very physical.
Right. One player from the Afghan camp that has went on and performed but has not been in the news because none of his opportunities have been converted into a goal, is Mustafa Azad. So he was brilliant in the last game too. Had a great chance on the 90th minute, missed it, but I think it was a chance that he created rather than he passing it to someone else. So what did you make out of his performance, and do you think he's good? He's a player to look out for in today's game?
Yes, definitely. Mustafa Zazoy has been good so far for Afghanistan, but the point is, unless he makes a real impact in the game, we can't just judge him on his performance. So he needs to create chances, either score himself or make sure that the striker finds the back of the net, because if they don't score and play well, it's just not going to matter anymore for Afghanistan.
Right. It is about playing the game in the field and making sure that you make a mark in the game. What do you think, Afghanistan in the last semis was a similar situation. They beat Nepal on the 105th minute. It shattered dreams of the Nepali fans. Today, what mindsets do you think they'll have it in the back of the mind, or will that be providing them confidence for that matter?
Well, situation is different now. It's like pretty same squad for both sides, even the Afghanistan and Nepal. It's a pretty same squad. So, but the situation is different that we are playing at home. Nepal is playing in front of such partisan crowd, supporting 90 minutes or 120 minutes. So it's an advantage on the Nepal side having upper hands against Afghanistan. But Nepal needs to play short passes, quick passes, technical passes today. They should avoid relying on aerial balls. They have better physical. They are physically well-built side. But comparatively, Nepalese players are shorter. So I think playing technical passes and putting them immense pressure within first 30 minutes will change the game.
Right. Atisha, I'll have to ask you this, right? I have been raising this pitch so far that they've had only 1 day break. So provided that the game today goes on to be for 120 minutes, do you think the Afghan players won't have that much of stamina left? Or do you think for Nepali players, for that matter, are fit enough to play a 120 minutes game?
Yeah, I think, of course, Afghanistan have gotten less rest. So, if the game does go into extra time, Nepal does have an advantage in that sense. But we're all professional players here. So, whenever there's talk of fatigue, you can always say that, these are professionals, they have to deal with it. Every team has dealt with it in the tournament so far. Even in the group stages, some teams have had less rest than the other, but still have managed to get a good result. So that should not stand in the way of Afghanistan, getting a good result today. I don't think that should be a reason for them to not win today. But having said that, yes, if the game does go into extra time, Nepal does have an advantage in that sense.
Right. Two players who've not received enough credit, I feel, is Sagar Thapa and Sandeep Rai. Sandeep, of course, has created brilliant opportunities, and Sagar Thapa too has been a brilliant defense player.
Yeah, I think we've not talked about the Nepali defense enough. They've scored goals when it's mattered, and they've created a few chances. That's been very impressive. But even at the back, they've been very sound. They kept a clean sheet against Bangladesh. Against India, India were reduced to almost 0 chances really. And even against Pakistan, after they scored, Nepal barely gave them a sniff. So, Sagar and Sandeep have been very, very impressive. I think the entire back four and the goalkeeper for Nepal have been fantastic in this tournament. One of the main reasons why they topped the group.
Right. And coming back to Afghan's performance, if you look at the last semi-finals, Afghan did manage to get a win, but really Nepal had put them under a tremendous amount of pressure.
So yes, when you look at it in the last semi-final, Nepal were the better side and should have gotten a goal, but as it stands, you need to score when it matters, and Afghanistan did that, and they'll be looking to do the same. I expect Nepal to dominate the game, but looking at the pace Afghanistan has and the physicality they have, they can look to counter that. If Nepal are attacking with full force and Afghanistan get the ball, they can look to immediately counter. So it's a very strategic game for both coaches. So they'll have to make sure that the team benefits when they get the chance.
Any player in your mind who you believe is going to shatter the Nepali dreams today?
Well, I'd like to say Bilal Arzu would, do that, but considering his recent form, I don't expect him to find the back of the net, or, there could be a major if he doesn't start. So I think Afghanistan's Maroof, who's been playing on the wing and was pretty spectacular against Maldives, he should be my man to watch.
Right. What do you think, Atisha? Give me a player name from Afghanistan lineup and Nepal lineup who's going to step up in today's game and perform.
For Afghanistan, I think Maroof is going to be a key player on the left wing. Biraj has been solid, but not spectacular so far.
Right.
So he's going to should have a tough game against Maroof, who was quite impressive against Maldives. On the other flank, though, I think it's going to be the Afghan right back Mustafa Hadid, who, when I watched him against Maldives, he was stepping up a bit too often and leaving a bit of space at the back. And with Nepal's left flank having Robin and Bharat Khawash in all probability, I think that's going to be a very key area, because if Nepal can dominate that left flank, they can create a lot of chances from there, in my opinion.
Right. What do you think, Bikram? Who is going to be the hero in today's game? Is Bimal Gatimagar going to step in at the 90th minute again and score a goal like last time? But this time, Nepal win? Or who do you think it's going to be?
I think senior players have to deliver today, and I'm going for Jumanu Rai because Jumanu Rai has already played so many matches, I think, against Afghanistan, and such an experienced players in the team. So I think he's going to perform well today, and he has to.
Yes, we're at the last segment of the show, and though we've not been very good at it, we'll try it again. What do you think are the scoreline predictions in today's match?
I think it's going to be a very narrow game, very tactical game, and whoever wins it, I think it's going to be Nepal this time, and they're going to win 1-0 or 2-1.
Right. Coming back to Atisha, you got something on your hand, right?
Yes.
We have got another man too.
Yeah, I've got my Nepali hat on, and definitely in the Nepal camp for today, rooting for them, and I think they're going to win it 2-1.
Right. That is what happens when someone wins and the experts too start going with the flow. What do you think, Bikram? You've always supported the Nepali team so far in the analysis. Who do you think is going to win today's game?
Of course, Nepal going to win. I think it's the same scoreline that we have all said. It's a 2-1 for Nepal, and the senior players will score it.
Right. All the experts supporting the home side, Nepal. Will the Gorkhalis continue their winning streak and penetrate their way into the finals, or will the Lions of Khorasan upset the Nepali team and fans one more time? We will find out at the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
Main sponsor IME. IME गर्नुहोस् SLC मा रमाउनुहोस्. Samsung smartphone powered by Suzuki. Way of life. Promoted by Nepal Tourism Board in association with Key Advertising.
Nice car.
It's the time to disco.